afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the debate between National Nankou International Experimental High School and Tainan Girls High School. The proposition for today's debate is that the Taiwan government should legalize euthanasia. For the debaters, votes for 10 minutes your speech are as follows. There are 30 seconds left to hear a short read. Time is up. We hear 2 short reads. It is 30 seconds to the extension to hear a long read. Upon hearing that, you have to stop your speech. The rules for timing your cross-examinations are that there are 30 seconds left to hear the short read. When time is up, you hear 2 short reads. And upon hearing that, you have to stop your cross-examination. Each team needs to prepare evidence cards for the cross-examination. Any evidence cited during the debate should have a corresponding evidence cards, which may be reviewed upon request by the cross-examiner and their teammates. The cards need to be returned at the end of the constructed speech following the cross-examination. For the audience, please turn off your cell phone or turn it to the vibrate mode. When the debate is still in progress, please do not chat or use flash when taking pictures. Thank you. First, affirmative constructive speech, 4 minutes.
Done. It is so painful, so depressing, yet all that can be prevented under the act it can. So good afternoon, honorable judges, fellow debaters, and esteemed timer. We are here to affirm the resolution that Taiwan government should legalize euthanasia. Its definitions: legalize, to make legal, euthanasia, the act or practice of killing or permitting the death of hopelessly sick or injured individuals in a relatively painless way for reasons of mercy. So we have identified 3 harms under the status quo today. Harm 1. Patients suffer physical pain. Quote, studies have shown that among those suffering with cancer, significant pain occurs in 30 to 40% throughout the spectrum of the disease, and in 65 to 85% of persons with advanced cancer. And studies also have shown that 50 to 80% of the time, pain in these populations is not well managed, unquote. American Hospice Foundation 2012. So many terminally ill patients are suffering immense pain due to the lack of proper training and improper medical treatment under this status quo. So harm number 2. Patients suffer from psychological pain and depression. Quote, 20,000 terminally ill patients died by cancer, while most had not received adequate care before their deaths. Both physical and psychological pain for families and patients alike, unquote. And that's from Gender and Sexuality Rights Association Taiwan, 2006. Our harm 3 is it denies the patient's rights. So we have passages from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that proves that by not giving them the right to choose their own death, it is actually violating their own right to choose and their freedom to choose. So yes. And then are significant for this problem. So in Taiwan, about 47,000 patients suffer from terminal illness every year, while only 7,000, which is 15%, receive palliative care, unquote. And that's from Department of Health 2011. So with few patients actually receiving palliative care, we should improve the current system with our plan. The legislative yuan would pass the Relief Me Act, which is first, set up a special relief program under the Ministry of Health to work with the WHO to A. Educate local doctors and physicians on the correct use of pain relief and antidepressant drugs. B. Provide counseling services to terminally ill patients in need. And second plan is we would allow doctors to carry out euthanasia as the last alternative under the conditions of A. Informed consent from both the patients and his or her family. Consent B. Informed consent and approval from the doctor concerning the health condition of the patient. C. Mutual agreement between the 2 parties taking the form of a signed contract. And 4. Statutory consent from doctors. And this plan would cost a total of 150 million NTD, and they can challenge our breakdown for it. And funds would come from implementing a 1 NTD tax on all patients going to clinics under the healthcare system. So our working model is the American Medical Association Pain Management Education Program, which would ensure that our plan would work. And then with our plan, it not only solves these 3 harms, significant harms, it only brings out 4 additional advantages, which are, first, it improves the life of families, and second, it creates positive spillovers in related medical fields, and third, faith in doctors, fourth, and employment opportunities. These are 4 advantages that my second speaker bring forth. So what I have stated overall, I've stated the significant harms that are occurring in the current status quo, which patients are suffering from physical and psychological pain, and then they're denied the right their own life. So the freedom of choice are being violated. And we've brought up a plan that would improve the current health system overall and benefit the whole population, and also making this law legalized to give the right to these patients. So with that, I stand ready for cross-examination. Thank you.
Second negative, cross-examine. First affirmative, 2 minutes.
So could the affirmative please provide the evidence for the people suffering from
Yes. We want you to read it.
ask the evidence practice? And second of all, how can implementing this euthanizing system solve unemployment opportunities?
But those are additional advantages that our plan will bring forth.
So how could the affirmative plan solve the psychological conditions of
As our plan has stated, we're gonna educate local doctors and physicians on the correct use of pain relief and anti-depression drugs.
So does the affirmative mean that now the palliative care system does not have pain relief?
I'm not saying that. We're just improving the current health care system.
So could the affirmative also provide people who are under terminal illness and have accepted health care?
Yes, 50%.
Evidence per policy. And skirts. Could you please pass the evidence? And so does the affirmative want another so does the affirmative what does the affirmative mean by saying the last alternative choice?
So we would give them like pain treatments and stuff, and then by their last decision, if they so wish to want euthanasia, we would grant it to them, offering them this right.
First, negative constructive speech, 4 minutes.
Good afternoon, honorable judges and distinguished debaters. I'm the first negative constructive speaker. We, the negative, strongly deny that euthanasia should be legalized in Taiwan. And here are our arguments. We are all different, but we share the same human spirit. Perhaps it's human nature that we adapt and survive. Stephen Hawking. Hawking suffers from a rare early onset slow progressing form of ALS, also known as motor neuron disease, that has mostly paralyzed him over the decades. Hawking survived much longer and achieved so many great things after the doctor told him that he has less than 2 years to live. Now he's a 73-year-old successful theoretical physicist, cosmologist, author, and director. According to Stephen Hawking's story, there is a certain percentage that doctors might make a mistake, and with euthanasia, the ones who would have lived longer can reverse the doctor's mistake. That ends with the judgments, and life cannot come back. On the other hand, being terminally ill doesn't imply life is meaningless. Just look at Stephen Hawking and the well-known writer Liu Xia, as known as Xin Lingzi, who had polyarticular juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, which had no treatment to cure at that time at all. However, she still lived a tremendous life full of hope, courage, and love. They both lived such colorful and complete lives. Then why couldn't we encourage everyone to follow the 2 examples in order to live a great life? Moving on, euthanasia harms doctors, according to Michael Cook, Biology News. Doctors who participate in physician-assisted suicide are scarred emotionally and psychologically. According to a study by a doctor opposed to the practice, Kenneth R. Stephen Jr., says that these side effects are often overlooked. Doctors must take responsibility for causing the patient's death. There's a huge burden on conscious, painful emotions and a large psychological toll. He also claims that some doctors feel pressured by their patients and others to participate. One comment by Peter Edmile, a leading figure in Dutch euthanasia, sums up his colleagues' comments. You will never get accustomed to killing somebody. We are not trained to kill. With euthanasia, your nightmare comes true. Okay, the APS plan is about legalizing voluntary active euthanasia, but doing so might lead to non-voluntary euthanasia. by giving the doctors too much power on life decisions. Nonetheless, has already provided the grisly statistics that should stop us from going down the same path. According to Stephen Ertel Life News 2012, we don't need to speculate. A 1973 court decision in the Netherlands started the process. Doctors and lawyers set strict guidelines to restrict when doctors could assist a terminally ill patient who wanted to commit suicide and to protect a terminally ill patient who didn't want to be euthanized. In only 23 years, Dutch doctors have gone from being permitted to kill the terminally ill who ask for it, to killing chronically ill who ask for it, to killing newborn babies in their pipes because they have birth defects, even though by definition they cannot ask for it. Dutch doctors also engaged in involuntary euthanasia without significant legal consequence, even though such activity is officially prohibited, writes Wesley J. Smith. Octavius says regulating the practice of assisted suicide with supposed safeguards doesn't prevent involuntary killing. Next, patients might choose euthanasia for not to become a burden for the family. That explains how a right to die for some people might well become a duty to die by others, particularly those who are vulnerable or dependent upon others. Patients might choose euthanasia to release financial burden of the family as well. These are the reasons why legalizing euthanasia in Taiwan is completely unnecessary. Also, palliative care can solve the issue nowadays in our country since the quality is very high, hospice care services distributed all over the country, and there is no need to worry too much about the cost. Palliative care cost is mostly covered by health insurance if the patient is terminally ill. Besides, how can you put a price tag on human life? Based on technology improvement and Taiwan's high-level medical treatments, our palliative care has already reduced the pain of patients to a satisfactory level. My partner will give details about palliative care and hospice care